What if one random post and 1 week of passion completely changed your life? For some, game development is a career. For others, it's a calling. But for today's guest, it all started out with Blender and a few co-op games and a dream of playing with his brothers. In this video, we sat down with the developer behind the Sledding Frog game, a creator who gained thousands of followers in just weeks. But is the fame really the win? What does it mean to succeed, to belong in an industry built on passion and pressure? And most importantly, can a game actually change your life?
When did your game dev journey begin?
My game dev journey began, I would say like 8 years ago. I was 16 at the time. Yeah, so I got really into Blender, like making 3D models and making, I think usually this like the scenes part. I don't know why. I think maybe it was just wanting to make maybe cool desktop backgrounds or something. You know, given the amount of time that I spent on Blender, maybe like 2 months or something. I was like, oh, making characters is cool. So I started making characters. And then also during that time, I was playing lots of like split screen games and like co-op games with my brothers. And so I was like, oh, these games look interesting, look fun. And I kind of know how to make 3D models. So why don't I just like figure out a way to merge the two? And so I started doing research into like how to make games or like what games you should make. Not, I guess not really that second one, but because I had a vision for like the types of games that I wanted to make, which is just like making games because I wanted to play them with my brothers. Yeah, I found Unity, which is one of the clear early on game development engines, because obviously I'm not going to make my own engine. And I think Unreal at the time was also, it was around, it's been around, they've both been around, but Brackeys was a big influence on me, like when browsing YouTube and looking up like how to make a game. That's how I got into it, I guess.
Would you say it was the games you played or the YouTube channels like Brackies you watched that inspired you?
Yeah, so I would say actually, I feel like I'm kind of different from like the normal indie dev path, in that lots of people that I talk to are like, oh yeah, I played this cool indie game and it inspired me to make this indie game. And for me, that's not really at all where I was coming from. It was really just like, I want to make something that I can play with my friends and brothers. It was just like another form of like creativity, right? Because I've always been kind of like into art. Honestly, if anything, it was like just the experience of cooperative games in general that kind of got me into it. I think it was just having a fun time. And so a lot of my early games were just like super small. I mean, this is with anybody, but they were super small projects that were just like, oh, this sounds fun. And then I'd work on it for like a week and I'd work like 14 hours a day, stuff like that. And just like slam out a game as fast as I could. And then we'd play a little bit. I only played the games that were like we'd like look on Armor games. Because also as a kid, we had like one PC. And so there's 4 of us, by the way. We would all just be kind of crowded around, or 2 usually, at least. And so if a game was just single player, it'd be like boring because there's nothing for the other person to do. I don't play single player games. I don't like single player games because I never played them. I never got into them. And so for me, it's always like, they're kind of boring, you know? Like, I wanted to learn to make multiplayer games because, you know, everyone's kind of moved out. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing. And I'm hardly ever in a situation where I'm playing split screen games anymore. And also it's just multiplayer games are the games that I'm into right now. So inherently I'm like, well, I want to try to learn how to do this. Cause I didn't ever know how to make multiplayer games. And I always thought it was like a big undertaking, right? Sledding game is like basically my first multiplayer game, like test project where I was like, all right, how can I make this like the simplest learning experience ever? Like, I just want to like learn how to do all of the things that you're supposed to do in multiplayer games, and that's it. It very quickly became apparent that it's what I wanted to do. So just to give some backstory on like how things unfolded, December is when I started making this game. Like I said, November was like a Lethal Company clone that I was working on. Too complicated, ditched that, started Sledding game. Also more backstory. The reason there's a frog is because I like frogs and I wanted to work on my 3D modeling, and I haven't done 3D modeling in like the past 5 or 6 years. I know my journey started on 3D modeling, but I kind of ditched that and went more towards 2D games or just like Unity assets in general. So the frog is there because I wanted to work on my 3D modeling. I like frogs. The way that I try to find game ideas is I just basically go on like Pinterest and I just scroll and like look at images and I go, how can I make a game out of that? Or like, is that a good character? My Pinterest is also like extremely game development curated. But so like all of these cute frog pictures, I'm like, how can I not make a game out of this? I gotta do this. And so that's why I kind of like started 3D modeling a frog.
At what moment did you realize game development couldn't be
Oh.
more than a hobby?
Started making frog game with sledding in December. I posted after a week of development, literally just a week of development, and I was like, that my first post was like, oh, look at this cool project. What do I do with it? I don't know. You know, that was kind of the general gist of the video. You know, I went to bed the first night after posting that, and I woke up and my phone was plugged in next to my head, like under my pillow, and it was just like, meep, 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 just like constantly notifications. And I was like, what is going on? Like, what is this? I pick up my phone and it's just like tons of like, this person liked your reel. This person liked your reel. This person commented on your reel. And I was like, what is happening? Very cool moment. And I looked at my phone and it was like 2,000 followers. And I was like, 2,000 people followed like one day? It still blows my mind because it's just like random new account with one post. Once I was at like 50,000, that was kind of the point where I was like, all right, like I need to make this game. Like initially it was like this is just a random project. We'll see what happens with it. We'll see what comes of it. And so I think that's why I say very early on, or like almost instantly, it was like, all right, like this, like I'm gonna do this instead of everything else that I was doing, because it could be something really cool. Like this was a hobby and has been a hobby. I never like felt like I could get into the games industry. Like I wasn't even looking for jobs in the games industry. I was looking for jobs completely separate. And I was like, well, this is going to be completely unprofitable. Indie games don't make money usually.
Did you say the fame is changing you?
I mean, no, but also sledding game is all I think about all the time. So like that changes me. Like just the process of like committing to doing game development and working on this game like all the time. Like it's hard not to completely envelop yourself in something and say, oh, I didn't change at all. But no, I don't think fame or anything. I try to, honestly, if anything, I try to avoid the fame as much as possible, because I'm like, I don't need people like recognizing me. Ugh, gross.
How would you define success then, if you're not the type of guy who like likes fame?
How would I define success? This is a very brief side note, but I watch Thomas Brush. He does these game development podcasts where he interviews like successful indie game developers. And so some of the time he asks them this question, or a question similar to this. And most of the time I would say it's the answer for how you define success isn't money. That's coming from people who have made a lot of money. So it's very interesting to sit behind a bunch of money and go, yeah, I don't know. It's just not what I wanted. It's true. I would say it's true that money isn't how you define success, but it's a very good indicator that you have done something successful. So for me, I would say I define success as personal success in that my game is well received. Yeah. My end goal is make a good game. That's literally it. You know, I don't like add things because I'm like, oh, this will be more profitable later on. No, it's completely like, is this game going to be fun? And is this game going to be good? If it's fun, it's good, generally. Once I'm done making the game, or at least once I've released something, if it's well received, if it's positively reviewed, even if it's not, well, I think there's two roads to success. There's like a success route where you're like content, and then there's a success route where you feel like you don't need to do anything else. And in the like maybe in the financial world or something, right? And like I feel successful currently. Like I feel like what I've done and what I'm doing, like I'm very happy with where I'm at. I want to make the game, and I want people to enjoy the game.
What motivates you to proceed Is it the people, the views? Is it someone in your life that's constantly pushing you to go on?
I think what's pushing me to make the game is a couple things. I like puzzles. I like making games. So partially, it is already motivating to just be doing this all the time, because I've had periods in my life where it is completely the wrong thing to do because I need to find a job, but I'll spend 10 hours a day doing this. So motivator B, which will hopefully make me avoid burnout, is everyone else. It is extremely rewarding to have the following that I have based on the content that I have, which is that I can post whatever I want to post about the current development of my game, and it is generally mostly positively received. I'm not really trying to go for like the doom scroll brain. I'm just like, hey, here's what I did, here's what I'm maybe going to do, here's my decisions, and I'm extremely grateful that that resonated with people as well as it did. It's the most like freeing content that I can make. Like I don't have to try to make content. I just like make a video about what I did that day, and that's motivating in itself.
Is
Very
there
good.
also anything you would have done differently?
Anything I would have done differently? No. I tried to talk to as many people as I could to learn about their mistakes or their advice, and to kind of form a ground level of my own. And I would ask them that exact same question. Like, do you have any regrets? Is there anything you would have done differently? And all of the time it was no. Because I think it's hard to look where someone's at success-wise and say that they would have done something differently given the already apparent success. Like, I'll talk to people who have made hundreds of thousands of dollars from their indie game, and I'm like, would you have done anything differently? And they're like, what are you talking about? No, I'm extremely successful. It's an interesting question because I don't know what I would have done differently. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. So, no, I don't think so. I got asked recently by a friend, and he was like, does this feel like work to you? And I was like, no, not really, because I'm just doing what I've done for the past 6 years, which is just like spend a ton of time during the day making games. Like, it doesn't, I mean, like, there's a lot more that I'm thinking about, but like the actual development of the game doesn't necessarily feel like work. It's more just like the next step in what I'm doing, and what I'm doing is something I enjoy, so it's interesting.
Are you scared that your game is not going to be up to people's expectations?
Because it's hard to like look at something that is in the game development world so early. Like, I've been working on it for 3 months, and I talk to people and they're like, oh, I spent 3 years working on my game, and I'm like, oh, all right, cool. So people want my game to come out now, and I can't do that. So a big like conflict of mine is like figuring out when the game will be ready to release. And so I think a lot of thinking for me has been like, are people going to play this and enjoy it, or will they not enjoy it? Because in my mind, you sled for a bit and then you go, well, that was some good sledding, time to go do something else. And I don't want that to be how it is, but I'm nervous. Yeah, expectations is an interesting word. I think I'm pretty forward with my development, forward being like how I explain things and what I'm talking about, to where I feel like the expectations are pretty similar in how the game actually plays and how it will play. Now, given I do have a lot of like, it might look more fun than it is, so I'm kind of scared about that. But I don't think people will play it and go, this isn't what I was expecting. So I'm not scared in that sense, but I am scared in the other sense, or nervous, I guess. I'm not scared about anything. Nothing is scary. It is fun, if anything. I'm overjoyed.
Do you feel like normally when people draw, because I'm an artist and I write, I normally feel like it's not good enough?
Where I do feel that way is when I talk to other indie developers who are like successful. I had a video where I posted recently of me talking about my experience at GDC. I went there and I met a lot of cool people who are far more successful than me, and it was really weird talking with all those people because they were all like, oh yeah, I worked in Ubisoft for 10 years, and then we're working on this game right now, and we have a budget of like 15 million or something. And they do, they say all that, and then they go, well, what do you do? And it's just like, I feel so small in that world, So it's not really things that I make that feel like good enough. It's more like where I'm at as an indie developer. But also, I do feel like I keep myself pretty grounded in that it doesn't go to my head. I don't like think about it too often because I come back to like me posting my first video about absolutely nothing and people going, we love this guy's project. Let's follow this guy's project. Then I go, all right, people kind of like my game. It's back and forth. It goes back and forth.
I thought
it's-
you would more or less feel like, you know, on top of the world. Like you didn't need to do that much to get you.
Yeah, I guess a little bit of that. I feel like a little bit of like imposter syndrome because like it's people that are successful because they put in like a ton of work and they've been doing it for so long. But then I guess I have to think about it in terms of like they started somewhere as well. Hard to fit in, you know?
So would you say that your game project changed your life?
It hasn't changed my life directly too much, but like the forecast and like how I'm choosing to spend my time, what I will continue to choose, how I choose to spend my time, and who I know, or who I've met, what I've learned, it's easily changed my life. I'll keep that one simple.
Yeah, is there any advice you can give to other people?
Just start, but I don't like that advice. Start making your dream game, but before you do that, do a tutorial. If it's in Unity, do a tutorial for Unity and then learn. You always want to know the tools you're going to use before you use them, and any problem you run into in the future, you can literally just Google it, because that's what I do. I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. If you know nothing, great. Great start. Just Google everything.
So I think what you can see from this is that success isn't always about money or fame. Sometimes it's just making something you want to play with the people you love. This happens when you follow the spark, not the market, not the trend, just the spark. If you're still watching, maybe you felt the spark too. So here's a sign. Go make the weird game, the small game, the personal game. You will never know who it might resonate with. And with that, as always, I'll see you in the next episode.